Thank you. Thank you very much. Hey, everybody.
Thanks.
First of all, we should just say that this is the first paperback event for your book.
This is it.
This is the first one.
It actually isn't. I went to Tulsa, Oklahoma last week.
Well, then what the fuck are they putting up?
I'm so sorry, Live Talks.
You went to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. Have you guys been? Anyone? Tulsa? You from there?
Huh.
Is that close? I don't fucking know. What I'm supposed to know geography? No, I mean
Different state.
it's a different state entirely, honey. But Tulsa, Oklahoma was interesting, and the book event was good.
Yeah?
It was nice. It was all right.
Now, when you say Tulsa was interesting, what do you mean?
Well, here's what I mean. You got to take 2 planes to get there.
At the same time? Just kidding, guys.
This is
gonna be like
already great stuff. Mark's enjoying it over there. Mark Silverstein, one of the 2 writer-directors of the movie I Feel Pretty. The other one being Abby Cohn. So anyway, so you have to connect. And anytime you got to connect,
Bummer.
you've already lost me.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. You guys, Jesus. Anyway, but I came up with a really good idea, which was we need dry bars in hubs. So I need a dry bar in Dallas. I need one in Atlanta. I need one in Charlotte. I need one in O'Hare. Fuck O'Hare. I have to go there tomorrow. We need a dry bar.
That's a good idea.
This is not for you, but this is for us. And I
can still listen and agree.
You also, have you ever been to a dry bar?
I know very, very well what it is.
By the way, in Dry Bar, they always play one of 2 movies, one of which is Never Been Kissed, written by Mark Silverstein, my husband, and Abby Cohn, his partner.
You're right, because what they have...
The other one is Mean Girls.
I saw in an airport this morning, they have the little spa place where you can get
Express Spa.
A weirdly expensive massage from a chair.
Yeah.
And they'll do your nails, but it's not great.
It's not great.
But that's a good idea. You should have that at airports.
I know.
But that could be better. But a dry bar is a good idea.
A dry bar is perfect. I just need to get in touch with that lady and make her do it.
She's on Shark Tank. You can contact her through Shark Tank.
So anyway, so Tulsa was good, but it was funny because I haven't talked about the book in almost a year, and a lot has happened.
Yep.
And so that was interesting.
Yeah. Now, the stuff that's happened in the last year, it's not like there's an extra chapter or anything.
No, they asked, and I said, fuck no. Are you right? Are you going to pay me more? Because I only do things for money.
Right.
Except this was free.
Speaking of doing things for money, the title of your book is terrific. This will only hurt a little. And I'm curious, because I've always thought that is such a great title, great idea for a title, because back in the 90s, Tori Amos and Michael Stipe recorded a single together called This Will Only Hurt a Little, but then they never released it. Did you know this?
First of all, I'm not sure how I didn't know this. Secondly, is this also just a version of your podcast, or EM talking to me?
Yeah, but it's weird because backstage...
Wait, because you know I'm obsessed with Tori Amos.
And backstage you mentioned, and look, I have it written in my notes, Tori Amos, Michael Stipe.
But how did I not know that? Did you fucking know that? Because if you didn't know that, you didn't know that.
Mark Silverstein, everybody. They did this, but then never put it out, and I've always wondered, what is that song like? And it had this title. I'm like, yeah, that's a great title. And then
I got to send her my book. I got to send Tori Amos, personally, to her my book, which was
really cool.
Really exciting.
It's a big deal. Did you hear back from her?
I did not, but yet. But she knows me as a fan first, and then a human second, and the last time I saw her was before the book came out, and I said, I'm in the process of finishing and about to edit my book, and I just want to tell you that you have played such a huge, that you've played such a huge part in my life and getting me through so many things, and there's a chapter in my book that is titled after one of your songs, and while I was writing, I had a soundtrack going the entire time that I was writing the book that would change depending on the year, because I wrote it like in chronological order, and I would change my playlist and shuffle depending on where I was in the book. And Tori was like all the way to the end, guys. Like she was like the constant that I would always hear. And she was like, "That's so wonderful. You'll have to send it to me." And I was like, "I'm 100% going to do that now." But you know, I haven't seen her since. I was like do like a meet and greet, like, you know, like a fan. Yeah. A meet and greet.
You go to the meet and greet when you go see a Tori
Yeah,
Amos
like
show.
normally my friend Abdi just like uses his like Platinum American Express somehow and like gets it for us.
Sure.
You guys ever do that?
So what
I'm
is?
serious. Like, I guess if you have like I don't know, but I guess if you have one,
You
can,
get
like,
access to the meet and
you
greet
guys,
maybe
you
before
get access
everyone
to all
else.
kinds of things with Platinum American Expresses.
That's right. This evening is brought to you by Platinum American Express. You can get the pamphlet on the way out the door. What favorite Tori Amos album? Is it Little Earthquakes?
Well, Under the Pink and
Yeah.
Little Earthquakes are both like very special to me because it was that time when I was growing up. Oh, but how I got the book to her is actually tied to the shoes that I'm wearing, which are Chloe Gosselin. And Chloe Gosselin is a shoe designer and also a huge Tori Amos fan, and also our mutual friend Kelly Oxford's friend. Right. And I met her through Kelly Oxford, and she was like, "Oh, you guys will like each other because you both were like obsessed with Tori Amos." And we did. And also I was like, "Your shoes are beautiful. Can I have them for free?" And she has made shoes for tour, and like Tori wears them on tour. And so Chloe got my book to Tori Amos. That's that.
And is that also who you met? You got to meet Tori Amos through, or did you met her at the meet and greet?
No, I'm like, it was like American Express Platinum. Like,
Thank you,
like,
American Express.
It was my friend Abdi. And,
pamphlet at the door. You can sign up on your way out.
Yeah. I also got weirdly way too stoned at that concert at the Ace Hotel, the last one I went to.
Yeah, being too stoned
not great
is at a concert is a bummer.
It was a bummer.
'Cause you're like, there's a lot of people in here. What does this music mean?
It felt like I understood everything.
Yeah, I know you understood it way too well.
Well, it was a whole vibe, yeah. But thankfully it subsided by the time I took the picture with her, which you can find on my Instagram.
This evening is brought to you by Instagram. Thank you to Instagram.
And Facebook, right?
I just wanted to start just because we've known each other for a little while, and you know, you came out here talking about how loud you talk, and sure, you talk you talk loud, and you're sort of, this is how I would classify you, as sort of a deceptively extroverted person, in that you seem like a person that would never, like, I remember when we saw each other after a long time, and you remembered me from that thing that's in the book that we'll talk about, and I was like, I can't believe she remembered me. Because you seem like you are in control at all times, and you are, I guess I would say, deceptively extroverted. But you don't miss a thing.
Not a goddamn fucking thing.
A thing. And you're listening to and taking in. You're an incredibly good listener, even if it doesn't always seem like you are, and you always bring it, but then you always bring it back around. You're a very, very careful, good friend and observant, deep person.
That's really nice.
And so
I feel like the first time I saw you after having not seen you for many, many, many years, I was like, "Oh, did you marry the girl that you were with when we like spent like one afternoon together?" I'm like, "Is this her? She was your girlfriend at the time?" And you're like, "Yeah, yes. How do you remember that?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Cause you guys moved out here together," and you're like, "What the fuck?
Yeah,
it's been
it was
15
crazy.
years. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, and you had gone on Freaks, and you'd done all this stuff, and I just thought you would, because it was for the Party Down audition, maybe, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to reintroduce you. She's not gonna remember, and you did. So anyway, because
which is
of
also
that,
in the book.
Yes, it is in the book. I have 2 cameos. The book it digs incredibly deep, and you really get by the time the book is finished, you feel like you know you. what is it that kind of drew you to write this kind of book rather than a collection of quirky essays or something that you could probably write in 6 weeks and do kind of easily get the money, whatever.
Yeah, which is what I think my editor wanted.
Is that what you first set out to do before you? Okay.
No, but I got it again. I was kind of not kidding. I won't do anything without money first. Like I'm not, like I'm just not interested in working for you for free. You know what I mean? Like
you've done enough of that. I'm sure.
I've done so much of that.
Yeah.
So have you. Like it's like fucking enough. Like pay me.
Yeah.
Because I'm worth it.
Yeah.
So I had in my early 20s thought that I wanted to write a memoir book that sort of dug into. Like I'm always interested in like origin stories of like any characters that I do, or anytime I read a script, I'm like, but why, where is it, and where does it come from? And that was one of the things that was so incredible about Freaks and Geeks was I felt like you really got a chance to like get a whole picture of all of these characters, but especially Kim Kelly, who very easily could have been reduced to the guest star in 5 episodes, who's like the fucking bitch, you know?
Right.
And instead you get what was supposed to be the 3rd episode of like this really intense life that this 17-year-old is supposed to be navigating.
Yeah.
And
there's a reason that she is the way she is.
The way that she is, because there's a reason why all of us are the way that we are, and there's a reason why I am the way that I am. And that is my story. And so for me, I know what my persona is, and I know my extreme extrovertedness, and I know how I can seem, and I know how I have seemed in press and when I was first starting out and I was reduced to like, you know, a little tiny blurb in like Teen Vogue magazine or like one of those like early aughts magazines, which sounded like a fucking idiot, you know? And I inherently was like, these things don't ring true to me. Because I have all of these other things, and these are the things that I'm pulling from that are like driving me forward and making me want to do better and making me want to succeed and making me want to tell stories. And like, how do I express to people that this is who I am? So when I was in my 20s, my mid-20s, and it was a bit of like a bad time career-wise, I was like, well, I'm gonna write, I took a memoir class at Otis, like a extended education memoir writing class. I just talked about this in therapy this week, weirdly. Anyway, it relates. But so, my teacher loved my fucking stories, like loved them, and I felt.
Were they all autobiographical?
Yes, and I was like, and a few of them, and I'll tell you what happened. So anyway, a few of them, the ideas of them ended up in this book, but like, I purposefully did not look at what I wrote when I was 24 in that class when I was doing this book, and then I did after, and it is fucking wild. Mark was with me when we had to like get them off of the like seashell MacBook.
You still have it?
No, it's gone.
Yeah. What color was it?
Turquoise.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the turquoise one too. Except it was a desktop.
Anyway, so I was really proud of my stories, and I thought this teacher was legit, and I shared the stories with the agency that I was at the time, and they had like a small literary department, and the many weeks passed, and then the agent that had been past them called me, and she was like, so the stories are cute. I think people just really want to know, like the pregnancy scare, and like the, you know, and I feel like people just really want to know like what it was like to work with Katie Holmes, and like, what's Heath Ledger like? And I was like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So, okay, I guess this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And thankfully it wasn't, because I think when you're 24, writing a memoir is fucking stupid.
Yeah, but also it's good that when you were 24, you had the sense to say no to, because when I was 24, I would probably say yes to anything if it involved me getting to do any sort of show business, anything.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I would have. Oh, sorry, honey. I'm so sorry. I would have if it was like anything other than me.
Yeah.
Like my expression of myself. Because at that time, like, let's think back, guys. Maybe some of you are too young. But to the early aughts, like like Facebook just was starting, maybe. No, I don't know. Whitney Cummings introduced me to Facebook when we were doing Maid of Honor, and I was like, absolutely not. And I still remain absolutely not, even though Instagram got bought by Facebook. It's a conundrum for me.
Yeah. It's all one thing, guys.
But it's all one thing.
It's all one thing.
Like, it's so funny because the joke in 30 Rock about like GE microwave ovens, like it's like that is who's paying for this right now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But anyway, I felt like the version of me that I knew that existed, like I couldn't trade on that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I would have sold my fucking soul to be in an Adam Sandler movie at the time, or Josie and the Pussycats, which I didn't get.
Oh, I didn't get that either.
Lost out to Tara Reid.
Yeah. I don't even know who I lost out to.
We could Google it. I lost so many parts to Tara Reid.
Did you?
Yeah.
How
That makes
about
sense.
now? Sorry. I think you're doing all right.
I'm doing fine. But so then based on the success of my Instagram, my agency that I'm at now is ICM. Woo! No, I'm kidding. Like, but it would be like, wouldn't it be
ICM,
amazing though
everybody.
if like somebody like Jake, one of my agents is here. You didn't woo for your own agency. It's like she's not even close to Tulsa and she wooed. Anyway, so
are you so glad that you did not write a book when you were 24 and you waited until now to do this? I mean, you must be so glad. You have so much more to offer, probably.
Yes, and I think 100%, and I think that I think I actually wrote 2 books, and I think I could have written 2 books. I actually think I could have written the book when I don't know, guys. I think I could have written that book when I was 24. I just don't know if the world was ready for it. But like, I think that there was a really painful teenage coming of age story that like ends with me getting the pilot of Freaks and Geeks.
That's interesting. So it would have been similar in some of the stories. You just didn't have the bird's eye view on those events that you do now.
I think
and
I
maybe
didn't
that
have...
that would be just as valuable. It would just be from a different perspective.
Right. I guess that like thematically, when I started writing this book, which was pre-Me Too, Harvey Weinstein, and the election. Yeah.
3 big events that have kind of shaped our culture.
But I was already feeling it because I think we all collectively, most of us women were really feeling it, and maybe some very, very sensitive men. Mark wasn't feeling it, for sure not. You weren't. You were like, I think it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And I was like,
What, when Donald Trump was elected?
Yeah, that was a situation. He was like, he's not gonna ruin the world. I was like, guys, I know, he said it, and he's really smart.
Well, I'll say this, that I remember there was the kind of glass half full part of me that was like, well, I remember when George Bush was elected, it was a huge bummer, and then he got elected again, huge, it was terrible, but it'll be fine. There'll be someone else that'll come along. Like,
and
assholes get elected president, but it's way worse.
It's so much worse.
Yeah.
And I think as women, like, we all felt that thing in our gut, which is like, this man has raped so many women, and so many people have, and then he has said so, and everyone's just like, we don't care, because money is more important to us than
that was another
women.
huge part of it, is that it was such a fuck you to women when he was elected president.
Yeah, it felt like, it was devastating.
Yeah.
But I do think that this thing was already sort of starting for a lot of people, especially people who are like a little bit more sensitive and aware of what the thing is out in the world. And I certainly had. I had like reached my boiling point of like, why? Why have I been like agreeing to this?
Yeah.
Like just because they told me I had to in order to what?
Right.
And part of it, honestly, was the financial freedom that like Instagram gave me, because I wasn't relying on gatekeepers who in this industry are still mostly older white men who were like, I wouldn't fuck her, party down. Not you. You didn't say that.
Right. I did
But
not
someone
say
did.
that.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's why I didn't get that part. But it's never a discussion if that guy would fuck you. You know what I mean?
Right.
We don't know, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so Instagram was really you sort of taking control of what you were putting out there, having 100% control over what it was you were putting out into the world.
Right, and for the first time, and it started with Twitter until that became a trash fire, but like for the first time I understood, like that, having that direct line to fans, people who like you, as a performer, as somebody who wants to share stories and things and just their own weirdness. And it was like, remains like fucking revolutionary and really fantastic. And then you see people like, you know, Jenny Annie joining. I call her Jenny Annie. That's not what anyone else calls her. But
Who?
Do you call her Jennifer Aniston, Jenny Annie?
I do
With
now.
your friends? Yeah.
100%.
But like you see that now with like there was just sort of this, you know, resistance from like sort of, it's the same thing with television, right? Like it's like movie stars don't do TV, and then it's like, well, we only do TV now.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with like, there are a certain amount of performers who really like found this thing through social needs.
But for you, Instagram was this watershed moment. I mean, New Yorker wrote an article about it.
That is true.
Because you connected so wholly, not just with your fans, but I feel like you were also connecting with yourself in a way and really finding what you wanted to do.
I think that the basic thing, and like one of the sort of, as I wrote my book, like a thesis that I was thinking about, was just the idea that, and what social media has shown us more than anything, is that we all of us human beings everywhere, no matter where you're born or who you are or what you love or whatever, you just long to be seen and like understood by one fucking person.
Yeah.
And if more than one person like sees you and understands you and responds in kind, that is like everything.
Yeah. And so was that you feeling seen by your fans and also your fans feeling seen by you?
I think that is true, but I think that in the beginning, especially of like the stories, it was just truly like a cry for anyone to like see it. And that it's fucking hard, and it's hard for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's also funny, and it's weird, and like weird shit happens to people all the time. And like, what was that tweet where they're like, that everybody's like been ripped off a million times, where it's like, everybody has a favorite burner, and like, why don't we talk about it? 3 people understand what I'm talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
There was a tweet that like somebody, you know, like how there's like people like steal things all the time on the internet, but here's also what I'm gonna say right now. Everyone has the same fucking thoughts. Everyone. Sure, there are like Barstool Sports sucks, but like other than like people, you know, or like the fat Jewish, like other than that, like a lot of times people genuinely have the same thoughts about things, because we're not that fucking unusual and we're not that unique. And like your funny thought might be my funny thought from 3 months ago, and maybe you didn't even know about my fucking funny thought from 3 months ago, and you just had it like on your own, and like that's okay, and I don't need to like claim my stake to your funny fucking thought.
Yeah.
So sick of the fucking thought police.
Sure. So did you, yeah, absolutely. Did you feel this way? Do
you guys agree with me a little bit? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand intrinsically, like, intellectual property, and like, there's definitely a thing when like people steal shit. Like, that is a thing. And like, there are like jokes that get stolen word for word and then like one word replaced. That's a thing. But sometimes these like humorous observations, it's like, yeah, I've had the same thought about like my kids' shoes. You know what I mean? Like, that's because we all have that's why it's a funny, anyway.
Yeah,
you got it. Sorry,
I think
sorry.
I think we're all on the same page here.
Adam,
But
what's your favorite burner?
I think my favorite what?
Your favorite burner
I don't know what that is.
on the stove, on your range.
Which one is my favorite?
You have one that you use more than any other ones. You cook? Do you heat up anything for your children?
You know, we have this one now where you turn it
There you
on
go.
and the flame goes, and you have to hold it for 10 seconds before it'll stay.
I hate it. You just redid your kitchen. Why'd you do that?
It's I don't know. It's a nightmare.
Didn't you go into the showroom? Didn't you try it out?
No, you have to ask Naomi about it. I don't know where the hell this thing came from.
Okay.
It's a puzzle. It's like the Rubik's Cube of stoves.
But I bet it looks really
Inverted
beautiful.
on itself, and it's a flat circle of
Okay.
a stove.
I'm sorry, I'm on a
so
tangent.
wait, Instagram.
Yes.
When you start, because this I feel is the kind of this launching point for you.
Sure.
Kind of not discovering yourself,
Mm-hmm.
just as a person that knows you watching what happened
Yeah.
once Instagram
Wait,
happened.
can I ask you a question? Like,
Sure.
as a part of my friend group,
Sure.
was it fucking weird? And did like were people like, what the fuck is what is she doing on Instagram?
It wasn't.
was.
It wasn't.
You guys talked about it.
Well, Naomi was like, check out what Busy is doing. And you're like, guys, I went grocery shopping today.
Yeah.
And the fucking orange fell out of the back of the car. Just little moments from your life. I thought it was fascinating. And also fascinating that so many people were
Yeah,
watching.
I think more people were like watching my stories than like the final season of Girls. You know what I mean?
Totally.
I don't know the numbers, but I'm just saying,
no.
right? That like tracks.
Millions.
You guys get it.
Millions of people. I'm going to go on the record saying I
Millions.
don't know if that's.
No, I'm
that's
also
true.
saying I don't know if that's true.
Sure. So, but did you
It's just a thing I just made up right now.
did you settle on that? Did you set out to do that, or were you discovering that as it was happening? Like, holy shit, this feels really good, and people are watching this.
I loved it. I grew up watching The Real World, like the first
Yeah.
one in the 90s. And I always thought like, you know, had I not immediately been plucked at age 19 to be on a seminal television show about teenagers called Facing Geeks, launching
Jesus.
the careers of, yeah, right. I always did sort of think that like, if I had been sort of born later, I would have like probably done like an American Idol or like like some sort of talent competition show or.
I'm
like,
sure you would.
Yeah,
have. I mean, you played Cher in like was
Toy
it
fair.
A toy fair.
Yeah.
See, this is
I was
one,
born to sell shit, guys.
this
That is the truth.
One thing I really loved in the book is just how scrappy you were, and I was the same. I wasn't as good at being scrappy, but I would do for those first several years. I would do anything. I didn't turn my nose up at anything. I did extra work. I didn't care. I would just do any job. And in
What
the
were you
book,
an extra on?
Music videos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mark was an extra on Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah, when he was in
Did
grad
you have
school.
like 19th century?
Yeah, he got a bump, costume bump. He was
amazing.
because he was in SC grad school for directing, and in the summer he was like, I've never been on a set.
Did you get credit for it for being on?
No, but like you learned a lot, and also 90210. Yeah, that's
Oh,
nice. The first one, guys.
That's something. So this sort of takes you.
I'm a hustler first and foremost. Like that is the thing you need to know. Like I will fucking hustle.
Yeah.
That movie's basically about me. I'm kidding.
Hustlers.
No, but I truly have that. I remember a girl that I went to high school with's dad used to be one of the regulars at California Pizza Kitchen where I was a hostess in high school. And I ran into him back visiting my parents after Freaks and Geeks was on, and he was like, at a different restaurant, Ajo Al's, the one my parents loved. Terrible Mexican restaurant. That I believe in the book, do I talk about it in the book, Mark, or did it get cut? that I took Colin to, and then all of a sudden, okay, so Colin Hanks, who was my college boyfriend, and now is like one of my closest friends of all time. But like I took Colin home, and I had talked up, like, have you guys had this experience? You like talk up this thing from your hometown, and you're like, you're gonna die. It's the greatest Mexican food you've ever had in your life. And like as soon as we walked in, I saw it. Like as soon as we walked in, I was like, oh no. Like the veil had been lifted, and I was like, oh, this is terrible. And we sat down, and like, by the way, I know this is being recorded, like I still go to Ahuel's. I love it so much. Like it's like literally like I have a painting at home that it's insane, but I have a painting of Ahuel's like in my house. That's how deeply.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's like in the basement now, but it is. But we do have this like weird painting anyway. Okay. But the point is, like, all of a sudden I saw it for what it was, and then like Colin ordered this chicken enchilada, and there was like a bone in it, and it was a devastating moment for me. But anyway, I ran into the dad, and so the dad was there, the dad of this girl I went to high school with, and he's like, oh, hey, congratulations! I read in the Arizona Republic that you're on a show. You know, I always said to my daughter, no one has a work ethic like that girl at your high school. And I was like, yeah, dude, I was hostessing, being a Barbie doll for Mattel, and selling ecstasy, all while maintaining a solid 2.7 GPA.
It's not easy, folks.
I hustled my way into Loyola Marymount University, where I did not have the grades to get in. My SATs sucked, and I was like, here I am. And they're like, okay, sure, right this way, girl.
Now, do you feel like part of it is from a very early age?
Is everyone okay?
What happened?
It was just a phone. It was a phone. I thought it was a person.
How do you know that was a phone?
Because I can tell a phone, but also a phone does also mimic like 2.5-year-old, but that's not the audience for tonight.
And did that phone have a cover or no cover?
There was a cover on it. It's like, I would say that's like a bandolier thing almost. Like there's like a leather cover on, like a hard leather cover. She's laughing. It might be. I don't know.
Do you feel like from an early age you always felt like you had something special that you wanted to share? Like, how far back do you feel like that was a feeling that you had, that you felt like you had something you wanted to push out there?
Well, I always felt that, and other people did not. And like, and that was the problem. But I had incredibly supportive parents who thought that I was very special, and I have a mother who like, how many of you have read the book? Like a lot or not a lot? Well, if you read the book, you people who read the book, I'm talking to you. But if you read the book, you'll know, like my mom's kind of like the hero of this story, but my mother also wanted to be a performer. She wanted to be an actor. And so while—
You kind of got your flair for storytelling from your mother.
Mm-hmm. And my grandmother, like that whole side of the family, yes, was like performers.
Yep.
Real performers.
And do you feel like you becoming a mother to Birdie and Cricket has changed your relationship with your mother at all?
Well, I think that yes, because I think perspective is everything. And, you know, I think that when you're in your 20s, you're very hard on your parents and you think that, you know, they should have done everything different. And maybe once you become a parent, you realize that like life is complicated. You have a better sense of the time in which they were living in. I have a better sense of the time in which my mother was living in as a woman, because that was also sort of the thesis of my book, was what it has been like for me to be a woman coming of age at this particular time in history, and then working in the entertainment industry at this particular time in history that brings us to this particular time in history, which is like a fucking wild time to be alive, you know? But so when I have a lot of deep respect for my mom and for what she managed to impart to me, in spite of the fact that she herself wasn't able. Oh, fuck.
It's all right.
You know?
Yeah.
Jesus. But just that she was hemmed in by this time.
Yeah.
And by the things that she thought were possible.
Yeah.
And the thing that we want for our girls is no limits.
Yeah. And what's kind of great is that you are now, because of, and the reason I was focusing in so much on Instagram is because that's sort of where this period, this era for you started. And through that, the book, the TV show, and everything you're about to do and will be doing is you've kind of put yourself, you've become this important cultural figure. And I think that I'm glad my daughter is growing up in a time where you are a cultural figure.
That is very nice. Thanks, Adam.
Well, I think it's...
As a friend, that's really sweet. Yeah, and I think there's a thing too, like, I think about that, like inherited trauma and like what was passed to us and what we're passing to our kids and by all this stuff. Like I tried to be very, I have all this weird body shit from, life, but I've tried my fucking best. I like made all these rules up that I just was like, I'm not great at reading those books, like where they tell you what to do or how to do things. So I was just like, I'm gonna make it all up to what sounds reasonable to me, which is like, I will always wear a bikini or a bathing suit. Like I will always get in the pool with my kids. I will always like get in a pool at the pool party with a bunch of other adults around. I will like always, and I will never comment on my own body. Like I'll never comment on another woman's body, even when my kids are little and I don't think they're paying attention.
Yeah.
I'll never say stupid shit like, oh, I can't wear a bathing suit or I can't wear a bikini or whatever, like all that shit. Yeah. It was just like, I'm gonna watch that stuff and talk about being healthy and working out is good for our bodies and our brains. I don't know, man. It's fucking hard.
It is. Now, you kind of came here and you were bouncing around, and we, one of my...
Sorry. I'm gonna put it on the back.
That was not a phone.
No, that was my mic pack.
One of my 3 mentions in the book, not that I have them marked.
Oh wait, can I tell you my biggest regret about the book?
Yeah, that I'm not in it more.
No, that's Colin's biggest regret of the book.
I bet.
By the way, he was like, I'm not even kidding you. Like, he was like, but really, like, wasn't there more for us? And I was like, there was, but to be totally...
Because you guys were like, it was like a big deal. You were together.
Yeah, for a long fucking time. Yeah. But it wasn't dramatic. And, like, so it got cut. Like, like you need, like, sorry. It just, that was the conversation we had, which was like, we had a really lovely relationship, and we were together when we were 18 to like 22? Yeah, 22. 18 to 20, it's a long time.
It's a long time for that age, especially.
Yeah, but like also off and on, and like I was crazy, and I would like break up with him and be like, I can't do this, and then like get back to it.
Some of that's in there.
Yeah, because that's the dramatic part.
Yeah.
But
the rest of it was kind of boring.
Well, not boring. No, but like just nice, like good.
Right. But for a book, kind of boring.
For a book, my editor was like, "Does this push the story forward?"
Right.
That's not an insult. You don't have to groan. It's just like you have to look at things like when you're writing a book. It's not, you can't literally put everything in there. Like, also, who trolled me online was one of my boyfriends from high school, who was also mad that he wasn't more of a mention. Yeah, and he's
Gross.
like, it's the grossest. He was like trolling me online. That was like, for the real story. I was like, what, you're gonna, okay, write a book. Like, fucking write a book, dude, about how you gave me HPV. You know what I mean? But
man.
It was so lame. But
so
that also was a case of like, I had written, like if I had written the book when I was 25, there would have been a lot more
of course.
That stuff and like, the high school stuff, but like we had to get through it. God, we had to get through it. We had a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah. Well, I was so surprised when I popped up in your book, because I was listening, it was like a year ago, whenever it came out, and I was listening to it.
Because Naomi read it first.
She did, and she warned me that I was in it. So
wait, but this is the biggest regret of my book.
Yeah.
So I've never written a book. Like, I don't know anything, and you would think that the editors who do this thing, like who like released Anna Kendrick's, but whatever, like all these other people's memoirs, would have some tips or like be helpful in any way.
But they were just like, write a book.
Well, yeah, they just like truly sometimes like when people are like the book industry is failing, I'm like, yeah, no, I've been in it. I understand why. Sorry, they're bad at like the things that I would have thought of. But anyway, but I was like when my book was
like
coming,
helping you shape it and stuff. You mean like you got no assistance there?
I felt yes. I mean, I felt very. Well, there are so many things that like they just don't tell you, and then you find out, and you're like, wait, what? That's a thing. And I'm trying to think of like examples. Oh, like you can hire your own copy editor to like help you do edits, so that you don't have to like find every like. They have one for.
You have to pay for it?
You don't have to pay for. Yeah, but it's also helpful to have like multiple people look at it. I ended up hiring. I didn't know that hiring an outside editor is a thing that people do because I just had like a really tough time working with my editor because the way that she likes to work is like apparently is that she needs the thing as a whole before she can make any edits. And I basically...
So she didn't want to see it till it was done?
I was sending her chapter by chapter.
Yeah.
And I wanted edits as I went.
Yeah.
And she was like, that's not what I do. I have to look at the whole thing.
Cool.
Except I was like, okay, but that's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then we like basically had to crash the book. Crashing the book.
What does that mean?
Is when you turn in your book, your manuscript, your final draft, whatever the fuck it's called. You turn it in so late that then you have to like turn it around with the edits super quickly.
Yeah.
And
because you had a date, you wanted it to.
They wanted me to turn it. Basically, I did the outline for them in June, and they wanted the book delivered by December. And we were filming I Feel Pretty and living in Boston, which was hell. And also like.
No offense to Boston.
I mean all offense to Boston. They were not
never
nice.
mind.
Not nice to me. Got into a fight the first fucking day I was there. I swear to God, never have there been more unhappy people for no reason.
And you feel like it had something to do with you.
No, I think they're like that with everyone.
Yeah.
I think that's the reputation.
Yeah, like a little prickly, maybe? Is that the Boston
just, like,
reputation?
Mean and like also so proud. And it's like, what are you proud of?
Proud of being mean.
Yeah, like it's mean. You're mean and it's not nice and history, fine.
Yeah.
But even like kind of like racist history. I don't know. It's all gross.
Some stuff went down there a few hundred years ago, a couple hundred years ago.
I know all about it. I took the tour.
So
anyway,
the reason I brought
oh,
me
I would
popping
have
up,
listen. I didn't know that I should have that
put that
someone
on
should have
hold.
helped me and sent the book to everybody. Okay, because here's the general rule. Also, I didn't know this, and like no one was helping me with like names, like people's names that I should change or not change, and public figures you don't have to change because it's public domain. It's like singing Merry Christmas. Is that a public domain song? I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But if it is, you could sing it.
Note to self to buy the rights to Merry Christmas.
But like, for instance, you're a public figure, so I don't need to change your name.
But like people you were writing like salacious stuff about, you're supposed to change your name?
No, like Franco, like all these people are like fine because it's like a
No,
thing.
but like private citizens or whatever.
Private citizens you have to change your names about. The guy who raped me when I was 14, the guy who got me pregnant when I was 15, I changed names, identifying characteristics, schools, parents, siblings. Like you have to change all of these things legally, and also because you don't want to get sued for whatever, right? Defamation or slander, right? Because getting someone pregnant is slander. Because raping someone is. But he did, so it's fine. Also, regardless, I was 14, and so that's rape anyway.
Did you know that you were going to include those two stories in particular when you set out to write the book?
100%.
Yeah.
And I purposefully had never this is gonna sound crazy, but I purposefully had never like joined a hashtag in which I revealed a thing, because I was like, my thing is longer than 140 characters.
Yeah.
And I feel many different ways about it. And I am allowed that, and I believe that like anyone who has any fucking thing that they hold as part of their deal has every right to want, and public or not, has every right to want to hold it in whatever place they want to hold it. So if that means that they never fucking want to talk about it because that's not what feels right to them, then that is, of course. And if they feel like they want to tell everybody, then of course. And if they feel like they want to tweet it online for the first time, great. And if they feel like that doesn't resonate for them, feel truthful for them, great. And I was a person that was like, I didn't want to Me Too. I didn't want to fucking, And I knew that this was like the way I wanted to do it, because I wanted to be able to like put it out there in a way that felt complete to me.
Yeah. And then you talked about it on your show. Was it during the Kavanaugh hearings? Is that when you talked about it on the air?
When the Kavanaugh hearings were happening and Dr. Ford testified, I was in New York doing press for the hardcover that was coming out, this book. And I
Oh, maybe it was.
It was Ellen. I talked about it. I talked about being raped on. Well, I talked about it on Instagram. I put it on Instagram. Okay. But the story had already been written and was in my book.
Okay.
But that day was really fucking hard. That day was really fucking hard. Almost like the election, that day, the next day, the next week, and then those Kavanaugh hearings were like rough.
Yeah.
And heavy. And there I was, and I was like, going to do press for my book, and I just felt like I wanted to throw up. And I had like been asking for some TBTs from like, sometimes I get like whatever, and I had this picture from when I was 14, and like, our girls are basically the same age, and it's so funny because you think of yourself, you think about these things that happen to you when you're a teenager, or you're a child, even like my friends who've experienced like really, molestation and rape when they were kids, and you think as an adult, you think of yourself as a kid as an adult, and then you have a kid, and you see it, and you're like,
whoa,
fuck.
Yeah.
And I got this picture from when I was 14, and I remember when the picture was taken. It was my school picture, and it was like 1 month before I was raped, and I look like my daughter. I look like a baby.
Yeah.
And having already put the story in the book was coming out, and Dr. Ford was so fucking brave.
Yeah.
Like, to do that, to sit there, to fucking take that. And I just was like, I'm gonna just put it out already. Like, I don't need to wait for the book to come out or whatever.
Yeah.
My biggest fear in writing it was that it would all be so reduced to the like top 5 shocking revelations of Busy Phillips' memoir. 1, she was raped. 2, she had an abortion at 15. 3, James Franco was mean to her. And that happened. Fucking People magazine did that. And I was so bummed. But
yeah, but of course they're gonna
but
do
who
that.
Yeah,
That's
but right.
part of selling the thing and putting it out there.
I guess so.
But you feel it cheapens it a little bit when to reduce it to that and to.
I felt like the James Franco thing getting like spun up into the ether was a real bummer to me, and he was bummed about it, and like because it was a thing that had been talked about before publicly, but also I understand in light of other things it seemed like a bigger deal, but then the language that people use, and it gets spun up, and it was turned into that machine where it's all over the world, and the part that was such not lost on me was that the book that I wrote about myself the week before it came out, every fucking headline was about a guy I worked with when I was 19. And I was like, oh, well, I guess it's still true. Like, here we are. Okay.
You mean like an actor?
James.
Oh, I see.
Like, because that was the story that got, like, picked up everywhere. It wasn't actually, like, people were like, that was the story that people focused on.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's...
I like maybe very naively, because literally 2 years earlier I talked about it on Watch What Happens Live. Like,
yeah, and you don't feel, for you, that didn't feel like the biggest thing in the book. But of course, someone's going to gravitate to it. And
yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I just assumed that it would be, like my publicist was like, okay, here's where we're at. The rape hasn't gotten picked up. Like, this is like what happens when you like write about your life in this way. Like, the rape has not gotten picked up anywhere. But, you know, the abortion, I've only seen one article about the abortion. The James Franco thing is really, and it was like, you're like, everything gets reduced to like these like things. And
it's like commodified.
It's commodified and you feel like, and cheapened. And that was always my fear with all of it. But ultimately.
But that's sort of the roll of the dice when you are using your own life and putting your own life out there as opposed to a character that you're playing on something. It must feel great, but then also you have to watch while pieces of your life are commodified as well.
Yeah, I don't know if it feels great sometimes.
Okay. Like, there's no trade-in for that, where it does feel good to share yourself like that?
I mean, I think it feels, you know, what is it? Is it Brene Brown that talks about like the vulnerability hangover? Like, I think it does feel, I think it's intense. Like, I think it's really intense to share yourself in a very public way and like very personally.
Yeah.
And, you know, what people put on you because of it and how what it means to them is like a really intense thing. And it's a lot sometimes. When the book was coming out, it was a lot all at once for me to take.
And the reaction you got from people from the story about the pregnancy and the rape, were you getting a lot of reaction from other women telling you their stories as well, I would imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the abortion thing flew under the radar, guys. But the story in the book really wasn't picked up, and I was fine with it. And I was like, because I knew how hard this was for my parents that I like even was including this. And but then I have my own talk show, and the extreme abortion ban started being passed.
That's when it was. You're
talking about that,
yes,
yeah.
Yes.
And so
that was an important moment.
So that was a thing that I just, as soon as Georgia passed that bill, and they were the 6th state, and we've all been just like fucking asleep at the wheel, and I said like, well, like I have to do this. Like I want to talk about this at the top of the show. And I talked with my showrunner and my writers, and I was like, I didn't want any of them to like get in trouble with the network or anything. And I was like, I'll just write this thing and like, let's discuss it. I called my friend, Sarah Sophie Flicker, who put me in touch with the woman from NARAL, and I said, okay, so here's the deal. Like, because we taped a little bit funky sometimes, so we were 4 nights a week, Monday through Thursday. Well, not in the beginning. In the beginning, we were Sunday through Wednesday because, you know, you want to capitalize on that Kardashian bump on Sunday night. So couldn't even book us all the Kardashians. He couldn't even do that for us. But anyway.
Did you get some of them?
I got Kim because I know Kim.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was a big.
I got Kim.
Yeah.
But, you know, like 3 nights later, Kimmel had all 3 of them. So, you know, but it's fine.
That's kind of bullshit, actually.
Yeah, it's
You're
actually
on the network.
Huge fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
We had fun.
Oh, yeah, it was a great show. I mean, come on.
Thank you. I did too. We were, I think, incredibly successful in a very short period of time, up against insurmountable odds and literally 0 budget, and 3 writers, all of whom were women, mostly diverse.
I thought it was really strange and made no sense that it went away.
Oh, I had like a fucking nervous breakdown in Dallas at the 4 Seasons when I found out. I'd flown to Dallas to do my Michael's commercials, guys. Your girl knows how to hustle. I'll get back to the talking about my abortion in a second, but I flew to, I worked all day, flew to Dallas that afternoon. This is the fucking craziest thing. As I was taking off, one of my favorite Deer Hunter songs. You know, I like to play Psychic Shuffle on my iPhone with iTunes. Has anyone ever done this? Do you guys know what Psychic Shuffle is? Motherfuckers, what is happening to your lives?
Is that just where you hit shuffle?
Well, Adam, it is more specific than that.
Or try to predict what it's gonna...
No. It has to be like there's like a vibe and a thing.
Wait, is it the Deer Hunter, like the slow acoustic?
It's the one He Would Have Laughed. The song is He Would Have Laughed. You have to start with this being your front page, okay? It has to be now playing, like not playing, okay? And then you hit play.
What is it?
It just has to like be blank.
I see.
It has to be closed out. There can't be another song on there playing shuffle already. Like it has to be blank. And your phone has to be the conduit for the thing that you're going through or you need to know or the message you need to receive. And then you hit play and this isn't working. But there's too many people in here. It's fucking it up. It's Hey Lover by Dawes, which is a good song. But anyway, He Would Have Laughed by Deer Hunter came on right as the plane was about to take off. And I was like, I feel like this is a good sign. This is like one of my favorite Deer Hunter songs.
Because you were waiting for word on the show?
We had been waiting for word on whether we were coming. We had 6 weeks left in our order. But we had already taken meetings because our plan was to try to run through the summer, like when all the other talk shows were dark. And like Liz Banks was like, we want to premiere the Charlie's Angels trailer on your show in June. And Jessica Chastain was like, I want to come on your show like June 8th. And I was like, great, you're booked, like doing all these things. And so Tina Fey and her representation everybody was like trying to figure out what was going on. And
because Tina was a producer.
Tina was a producer on the show, yes. And the like head of E was, just constantly saying like these weird platitudes, like it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's a marathon, we understand it's a marathon, not a sprint. We're like,
we
that
get
is
it.
Okay.
We get the metaphor.
Yeah, and so then I landed in Dallas, and as soon as I landed, I had a text from my manager saying like, please call me ASAP. And I was like, it's a Friday night. I'm like, whoops, okay, what's about to happen? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
But I just weirdly didn't think they were gonna tell us that they weren't gonna continue with the show, but that is exactly what they told us. And I was like, I don't understand. This doesn't make any sense. Like, we're just finding it.
Yeah, You'd been on for how long? 6 months or something?
Well, 6 months a total. But so the first order was 13 weeks, and this was like halfway through the second order, which was also 13 weeks. So it was like,
that's nothing.
It was crazy. It was nothing.
Yeah.
And our shows were getting so good, and we had, in our 6 months total, we had over 4,000 unique press pieces written about our show. We averaged 12 articles per show.
And that's for a network in the show, that's nutrition for them. They want that.
I mean, it was like you couldn't pull up Just Jared without seeing something from my show.
Yeah.
But I was like confused and devastated, and I got off the phone with my manager and I called Tina, and I called Eric Gurian, her producer, and I talked to Tina. I called Eric Gurian, her producing partner, who was really like on the ground with us building the show.
Yeah.
And I called Casey St. Ange, who's my producing partner. I called Mark and the girls who were on their way to Palm Springs, and he was like, should we turn around? Should we get on a plane to Palm Springs? And I do regret this because I was on speakerphone and Birdie started like hysterically crying, and I felt like a bad mom because at that point I didn't even like care about her feelings. I was just like about myself, which she'll talk about in therapy when she's 25, along with a lot of other things. And
it's okay every once in a while to, care
every once
about
in a while,
your feelings first.
Yeah. But anyway, and then
once every 4 years.
she gets her moment. But and I was just so confused, and then I kept looking at my phone and waiting for one of the executives or the head of E to call me and You
still waiting for that one?
Well, I had to send a text because after like an hour I didn't get anything.
Yeah.
And the last text I had from the president was, have some great marketing ideas to discuss with you next week with 3 Mai Tai emojis. And so I just wrote back like, cool, last text to me, bro. I was the executive producer of the show. I was the star of it. I was there every fucking day. I built it. It was my fucking idea. It came out of my brain. I had amazing creative partners, but it's not like somebody showed up and was like, hey, Busy Phillips, you should have a talk show. Here is the set and the pieces and the thing, and like you just sit here and ask some questions. Like I was intrinsically involved in every fucking step of the way. I willed it into existence. I like birthed it out like my own 2 children vaginally and without an epidural. And like I then expect a goddamn text or a fucking email or anything, and like it's just bad business, and like it's rude, and like fuck you that you talk to like the white like dude who is the representation, but you don't see fit to like talk to me directly. So like, cool last text to me, bro. And then he wrote back like, I heard you're traveling. Let me know if you like want to talk. And I just wrote back, no, you're bad at your job. Do better. And
good for you. Good for you.
He doesn't have that job anymore. So, although the truth is he'll just fail upwards because like that's what he had failed upward to that job.
Did he figure out a way to, with emojis, say it's a marathon, not a sprint?
No, but I made sure I said it on my last fucking episode. And then we made T-shirts. Nice. And for me it is, and for him it's over.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I don't wish him any ill. I think that it's the. I just think that people get so. I do think that people are really bad at their jobs, and I'm really good at mine, and I expect the same in return.
There you go.
And
on that note, we have a little more time. I'm sorry to cut this
off,
but we're going to take some questions from the audience, and I didn't want to run out of time, so we couldn't get to that because I know some of you have some things you want to.
You guys, thank you so much for coming here. This is very weird and great, and thank you, Adam, so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Because
I hope we impressed upon you guys how great this book is, and how I hope you all get it and enjoy it and buy it for everyone in your lives.
That's really nice.
No, it's
and
terrific.
You were early, and really my regret is that I didn't have somebody who had either was in the book business or had written a memoir or who represented me or anything that was like, I'm going to take the initiative and send this book out to all the people that you mention in it so that they can at least, and with a note that says like, hey, you're mentioned in this book if you care, like here it is, before it came out, because we should have done that.
No, it was an awesome surprise. I loved it.
We didn't even talk about the Noah Baumbach pilot.
I know. We did a table. It's in the book. We did a table read for a pilot
for NBC.
For NBC, Noah Baumbach.
We were both cast.
And Steve Martin wrote a pilot.
Yes.
Called The Acting Class.
That Imagine Entertainment was producing.
That's right. And we were in it. Nia Vardalos,
pre, the thing.
But then who else?
Oh, what's his name, Mark? Carlos Jacob.
Oh yeah, hilarious.
And the guy from Cavemen. John Lear.
Yeah, John Lear. And it was about an acting class, and Carlos was the acting teacher.
Yeah, and we were in it.
We were students, because back then
we were
like 24 years old.
Honey, you were 24. I was legit 19.
Because
yeah, I was 18. I got Freaks and Geeks from that.
Right after that.
Wait, and you know what's so
and
crazy?
What did I get from that? Nothing. You went on one of the best TV shows of all time.
I caught seminal.
And I got nothing.
So NBC hadn't committed to picking up the pilot to shooting it, but like obviously it was like Steve Martin, and this is Noah Baumbach like post Kicking and Screaming, but before Squid and the Whale. Yeah. So like you're in the sweet spot of Baumbach where he could have done television.
Oh, it would have been amazing.
Yeah. And
it was so funny.
And then you know what he told me?
No.
Mark
or
says
maybe
it's controversial.
I do. I don't know.
Mark says it's controversial. I don't know if I should say it. But I want to get the script. It was called The Acting Class. Well, anyway, so NBC wasn't committed to picking up the pilot, but I got a call from my manager, and she was like, darling, they loved you. And I was freaking out. Did you know who he was, Noah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah.
I was like the hugest Kicking and Screaming fan.
Oh, totally.
Because my boyfriend in high school.
Mr. Jealousy was out at that point.
Oh, Mr. Jealousy's so good.
Yeah, it's great.
When he has the accent.
Yeah, and when Carlos and everyone, when they're like trying to talk about their girlfriends when they're not at the table, and then the girlfriends show up and they're just like, oh, this is cool. I like how this goes.
You guys, do a deep dive on early Noah Baumbach. You can skip Highball.
I don't think I saw Highball.
Highball was only released on VHS, and it was like essentially a student film. I don't know what the fuck it was, but like my boyfriend in high school and I were obsessed with Noah Baumbach, and he like worked at an art house movie theater in Scottsdale and like somehow got this VHS that I maybe still have.
Is that pre-Kicking and Screaming then? Highball?
No, Highball was like between, but it was like something they just did on the weekend.
Oh.
Like it was like not, it was like the anniversary party except bad.
Okay.
Is our 90s like cinema resonating with anyone here? Okay.
I remember Carlos, John Lear, and Noah were all buddies, and they were just a few years older than me, and certainly of you. And I just remember thinking like, I wish I was like smart and funny like these guys.
God.
Like they were so awesome.
They were so awesome, and it was like a dream come true for me. Like, and I felt like. And you were so cynical immediately.
Yeah.
We walked to the park. So anyway, so they asked us, they were casting it. Imagine was casting it in the hopes that like, if they assembled this amazing cast, surely NBC would like green light the pilot.
Right.
And I don't know, guys, maybe in the late 90s this flew. But so they cast us. We went to go do like a little work session and the table read for the NBC executives.
That's right.
At the place in Burbank, the old place where like Jay Leno would like drive his old car on. Yep. This is...
Because afterwards we walked out onto the 300-degree parking lot.
Yes, and we smoked cigarettes.
Yep.
And the sun was setting, and I remember the mountains, and I was talking to you, and you mentioned Naomi, and we were talking, and I was like, this is so exciting. Like, this is like my dream come true. I really hope we get to shoot this. And you're like, yeah, they're not picking this up. They're not going to shoot this. And I like, you crushed me so instantly, and I was like, what do you mean? And you're like, yeah, no. I mean, I could tell. Like, no, it's not happening.
It's so funny because inside I wanted it so badly. That was all like bullshit because I was crushed when they didn't.
I remember my big funny line. I wasn't the ingenue, obvi. I was like the sassy, weird best friend, like acting.
Ingenue?
Who fucking knows? Where's that girl?
You know who the ingenue
Who?
was? Because she ended up in the pilot that I did do
what?
that year.
Who? For NBC?
No, for WB it was called Sagamore.
Wait, Sagamore. I remember that pilot.
You do?
Yes. Well, because Mark had the opposite sex that year. I did a guest star for another WB pilot called Saving Graces, starring Kyler Lee and Lauren Ambrose as two girls named Grace, who were best friends, but from different places. Like, it was insane.
But that actually ended up as a show.
Saving Graces did not.
Oh, it didn't?
No. But Lauren Ambrose went on to get 6 Feet Under Obvi, and Kyler Lee went on to Grey's Anatomy, and also on that pilot, Saving Graces, was Nathan West, who she met and then married and now has like 17 children with.
Who met?
Kyler Lee.
Oh.
Anyway, so You guys, this is late 90s. This is out of it. Wait. What was her name?
Specifically 99.
99.
I don't remember, but we did Sagamore, and in Sagamore,
Just Google Sagamore. Mark, come on.
I played the exact same role that I was playing in acting class.
And what was that role,
Just
Adam?
like the guy that likes the ingenue, but is
It's too,
like her friend.
dark and weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was the male ingenue that she was with, and I was
There was
like,
also
"Ah."
another guy, because there was you and the girl, and then there was me, and this was my big blow. This was like my one line, which was like, well, I gotta go. I've got a yeast infection that could flip a cow.
Oh my God. Really?
That is the fucking line
Oh my God.
from 23 years ago. I have the craziest memory
incredible.
of all time.
Oh my God.
Do you know how many times I fucking said that walking around Loyola Marymount University?
Oh, well, you said it for the audition. You said it for the work session.
I
Like, you
was
had to do
called
it
back,
so
but it was my first, like, I was called back like 7 times
Yeah.
before I even made it to the work sesh.
Yeah. I remember auditioning many times for that as well.
What else did you audition for that year, Roswell?
No.
You didn't?
I don't know. Probably. I auditioned for everything.
Me too.
Yeah.
Did you audition for the opposite sex?
Yes.
Yeah, because Mark,
Because
you know, that's Mark's show.
the audition was at the Scrubs hospital set, right?
What? No.
you-
The opposite of sex? The
No,
Christina
no,
Ricci
no.
movie?
I auditioned for that.
For sure you did.
But I remember, I thought that
Opposite
audition,
Sex was a show that was Mark's first show that he had after they had sold Never Been Kissed. And Mark discovered Mila Ventimiglia and Chris Evans, arguably the best of all the Chris's.
Wow.
Right?
So were they in the pilot?
Yeah,
Both
so
those
it's,
guys.
So it's those guys, and then
I
who were
feel
the
like I
girls?
did audition for that.
And then
I
Anne
did.
Hathaway,
20 years ago.
20 more.
No,
20
exactly 20 years ago, because it was
Oh yeah, it's 99. You're right.
99.
You're right. Get Real with Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway had that show, Get Real.
I don't remember
I
that.
auditioned for that. I auditioned for Roswell. Didn't get that, which was good.
I think I auditioned for, I probably did.
You must have auditioned for Roswell.
Everything.
Allison
Pilot
Jones was
season,
casting it.
Oh yeah.
I had
probably-
90 auditions and callbacks that
Allison
year.
Jones cast Roswell?
Roswell, yeah, which is also why. Okay, so Grace Wu, who was the head of casting at NBC.
Well,
who saw-
Allison cast the acting class. No?
No.
Oh.
I also think like never fuck with my memory.
No, listen, I'm
100%.
not. Allison gave me any job that mattered in my, like,
That's so nice. She gave me one.
well, it was Freaks and Geeks.
It was a seminal day. Yeah, no, but she. So Grace Wu, who was like the head of casting at NBC,
Yeah.
after we did the acting class table read, and they were like sided with Adam, and they were like, yeah, no, we're not doing this, and I was devastated. But Grace brought me in to meet with her because she was like, who are you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just a girl from Arizona who stopped doing ecstasy last month.
But would you like to buy some?
But I could still sell it to you. I also work at California Pizza Kitchen in the marina now, and the owner of the Clippers comes in regularly. It's just a side door, you know what I mean? Like, it's just another avenue I could have gone.
Was it the guy that ended up? Oh my God! Wow, cool guy.
Woo!
wow.
A wild scene. Anyway, she was like, "You're very interesting. You're very strange." No, but there's this show that I think you could be right for. It's called Freaks and Geeks. I'm gonna have them call you in, and I had auditioned for Allison for Roswell and been called back to producers, so she brought me straight to producers for Freaks and Geeks. And my biggest feeling about it was that I was annoyed that the auditions were held in the deep Palisades on a Friday afternoon.
Why were they in the Palisades?
Because Judd like lived close by, and he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do it near my
Yeah,
house,"
right.
and I get that now, you know.
Sure. Listen, I don't want to drive across town.
Why would you?
Have the actors drive across town.
Yeah, and so after I read for Lindsay Weir, and they were like, no. Paul was like, we have this part that we're putting it in the pilot. It's not in the pilot you read, but she'll be in the pilot, and she's going to be in the show. And will you take this outside and look at it and come back in? I was like, okay. Did you audition for Freaks and Geeks?
No, I did audition for, because I think it was too old at that point. I was like 24 I didn't look like I could be in high school, but I did.
You were like, I looked like I was a freshman in college.
Right, exactly. I did audition for the next one, though.
Undeclared.
Undeclared, yes.
So anyway, I went out into like the hallway to read the Kim Kelly sides. And at a certain point, I just was like truly just looking at the clock. And I was like, my drive back to Loyola Marymount University on the 405 right now is going to be
awful.
Literally impossible.
But did you look at Kim Kelly and then like lightning struck it and the clouds parted? Like it must have been an immediate.
No, I
truly. A role for
this
you.
is like this is, but this is what I'm saying to you. I like truly was like, if I don't go back in as soon as that next person comes out, like I'm fucked. Like I'm stuck in traffic, and this is not. And like it's Friday, and like also all my friends are in college, and like, well, I guess I was technically still in college. I'm like, I have to. We have things to do. You know what I mean? Like we have like. Grey Goose to drink.
To smoke.
We have bongs to hit.
Pizzas to
Baja Fresh.
Oh, Baja
in the marina to.
Baja Fresh in 1999. You guys, you don't understand.
That was where Colin took me on our first date.
I bet
was Baja
he
Fresh.
did.
Baja
you get
Fresh.
that green onion? It's just included for some reason.
Yeah, just wrapped up in the burrito.
Who ever ate the green onion?
No one ever wanted that. But yeah, so
I did audition for Roswell.
Of course you did.
I remember that.
And you had to point up, I bet. I bet you were like, I bet it was the scene where she's like, you're not from here, where are you from? And he's like, north. And she's like Cheyenne. And then he was like, guys, right? Don't fuck with my memory.
Now, wait a second. Am I right that show is still
It's not still on. No, it came back. It came back. It came back, but like in the craziest thing, I now work out with Jason Bear's wife, which is funny because, you know, working out with people and anyway. And she was telling me that he's like guest starring on it and that Sherry Appleby is directing them. So it's like
was Sherry Appleby on Roswell?
She was on the first one, yeah.
Okay, all right.
It was like Sherry, Katie Heigl, Brendan.
Katherine Heigl was on.
Yeah, Katie Heigl.
Man, I don't even.
She played an alien. It was Jason Bear, which is what you would have auditioned for. That's your type. Katie Heigl, which is what I auditioned for, didn't get. Also, I mean, she was like, you know, that was like the craziest thing ever. She like broke Maxim when she was on the cover of it.
If we got Roswell and we became super rich at like 26. We would have just been total assholes.
But they didn't get super rich off Roswell.
Oh,
Roswell was like an underdog.
But they were on it
because Colin was on it.
Oh, Colin was on Roswell?
No, it wasn't on forever. It was on for like...
Really?
They're fans in the audience.
What? Why does it seem like Roswell was on forever?
Has never ended for you. In your head, you're just like...
That show was on for 3 seasons.
Just 3, yeah.
And
I was on Dawson.
Done?
You know I was on Dawson's Creek, right?
Yeah.
That show went 6 years. Those kids did make a ton of money. Yeah, but I mean, like, but then they also were like I think they were like the first teen stars to like get paid $1 million for like a movie. You know, like
that was a great part of the book too. Is all the Dawson's Creek stuff. It's juicy, you guys.
Well,
but it's not like juicy, but it's just interesting.
It's just my perspective. It was just what I wanted to. I don't know. I feel like they're probably not happy about it. I mean, I know what Michelle feels.
You didn't say shit.
No, but I just feel like Michelle, obviously, I mean, there were certain people, guys, clearly, that like read the book before, like not Adam, but like other people that are in the book that I gave like very, very early copies to before it even went.
Right,
to,
like those folks.
Yeah, like of course Michelle.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, and especially because like she and I had a discussion like about me talking about Heath, and I was like, I wrote this part and I want you to read it and then tell me if like what you feel. And like I had no attachment to it is important to me and remains important to me, but like also had no attachment to keeping it in the book if it made her uncomfortable or she felt like it would make her daughter uncomfortable. And no, she like loved everything. She asked me to change one specific thing. And that was just about a thing that we used to do that she does not want her daughter to know that we used to do. And that makes sense to me. And that's not my conversation.
Yeah, because you guys met on Dawson's Creek and you guys are best buddies now.
Yeah, forever. Yeah, since then.
I am so sorry. Let's
Okay,
do
bye.
these audience questions.
Do you have any?
Is one
Like,
of
do
the
you have
is one of the
any
questions?
left?
When are you guys gonna shut the fuck up?
Oh, sorry guys, was this too long?
Oh no.
We'll just do one of them here.
All right.
Busy,
Yes.
you write, my therapist Bethany Rosenblum
Yeah.
says that everyone has one defining story.
Yeah.
A story that basically sums up who they are and why they are the way they are.
I remember.
What is your story?
Well, I mean, yes, that's in the
Right
book.
here.
It's like that's what the book is. Let me just buy the book. Oh God,
That was
guys!
easy.
I could talk about late '90s pilots for literally
my
the next
God.
hour and a half. It was a wild time in Hollywood.
I remember I watched Sagamore once, and and like just put the DVD somewhere. I was like, I don't need it.
I did a pilot once with this woman, Marisa Coughlin. I don't know if anyone remembers
I know.
Marisa.
Yeah,
Of course, Marisa
yeah.
was like a staple.
I was on Wasteland with
Here
Marisa.
you go. There you go. That's
Remember
correct.
Wasteland?
Yeah. Marisa was like a staple of like late '90s, early aughts, like failed
ABC pilots.
Yeah, ABC
Yeah.
pilots. And we did a failed ABC pilot that Nell Scoville wrote, who's like an incredibly talented writer who came from The Simpsons, and Miguel Arteta directed. And
Wow.
it was the year that I had been offered to test for a show called How I Met Your Mother, and I turned it down to do this one.
Good move.
Okay, in my defense, I do want to just say this. In my defense, the studio at the time for How I Met Your Mother was claiming that that they had like a cap on how much they could pay me per episode, and it was $30,000 less than my quote. And this was like the beginning of, if anyone in here is in the industry, knows the industry, whatever, this was like the beginning of doing that exact thing to actors to minimize the thing that they had worked for, their quote. And also really specifically to women. Because they weren't necessarily, and they still, we know.
You're right. There was a specific point in time when your quote ended up meaning nothing. Yeah.
And that was that year. And so when they did that to me, I was like, well, no, because I've already done all of this shit up until here, and it's all a crapshoot.
Yeah.
So, who knows, whatever. And I'm not willing to do it. And it wasn't for the creative. It really wasn't. It like truly wasn't a creative decision. It was really just like a money decision in which I was like, I'm worth this amount of money because I have worked this hard for it, and I don't want to slide backwards because somebody is just like, sorry, like you don't get it. And by the way, they fucking found the money, I'm sure, for Allison Hannigan. So, like that's so that's like the decision sometimes you have to make.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, but so the pilot with Miguel Arteta, it was so bad. Oh, and Gary Cole. It was me, Gary Cole, and Marisa Coughlin.
That sounds great.
And what's his name? Oh my God, from Mad Men, who I always was like, how does that guy know me? And then Marisa was like, because he played your brother on the pilot we did together. And by the way,
Jared Harris?
no, he's cute. He played like the hippie guy. He's in the agency.
Oh, he's on the supermarket show?
Guy is
Superstore?
not Ben. No, I know Ben. Oh my God, I know this guy too because he played my brother. And what's his name?
He ends up with what's her name?
One
That
time,
guy.
Mark's dad. Mark's dad. You know, like how you just turn into your parents. One time, Mark's dad. We were like at dinner, and he was like, "How's the computes?" And that was like how he asked how Mark's writing was going. How's the
How's
computes?
the computes?
How's the computes? Sometimes we ask, "What?" He played Hank on Mad Men. What? Yeah, long hair at the end. Guys, come on.
Oh.
You know our friend. We know him.
Yeah.
I'm just blanking on his
Yeah,
name right now. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
By the way, Marisa Coughlin is great.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
In Drop Dead Gorgeous, she has like the best part. Where
So
she's
anyway,
like the
you
girl
guys
dying
did
of
this
anorexia.
pilot with Miguel Arteta. You guys did this pilot.
I don't remember what
Was
the story
that-
was.
okay.
It was terrible.
All
It
right.
was Jay Ferguson.
Jay Ferguson.
Jesus.
I was on a show with Jay. I guested on a show.
There you go.
Jay Ferguson in 2001
Uh-huh.
up in Vancouver
Uh-huh.
called Glory Days.
Yes, about football players.
No. It was the premise was, and there have been so many shows and movies with this premise. Try and count them where someone writes a
Book
like
about
a
their
book
hometown,
about
and then
their
they come
hometown,
back.
And then they go back home, and everyone hates them.
Everyone's
How
mad.
many times has that been a show or a movie?
Is that what the bowling alley show was about?
I don't
No,
know.
that was different. But wait, also, I was on a show
That might not be
in
what Glory Days
Vancouver where
I don't think that's what Glory Days was.
was
But
that
Jay
on the
Ferguson
WB?
was in it. Yes, it was Kevin Williamson and
Sure, it was WB.
Yeah.
I love Jay Ferguson. He's so great, and I totally, until legit 2 months ago when I ran into Marisa Coughlin and she brought it up, had no idea why every time I've seen him in the last 11 years, he's like, hey, it's so good to see you. And I'm like, it's so good to see you too. How do we know each other? I'm such a huge fan from Mad Men. I love him. Like, didn't remember at all.
yeah.
I had like blocked the pilot out of my brain. I was on a show in Vancouver where I played Kelly Osbourne's boss. Life as We Know It. Anyone? 2 seasons.
Kelly Osbourne was.
Kelly Osbourne was a series reg on an ABC show.
Whoa.
Yeah. Raymond, it's not the place for gossip. You know what I mean? Oh, on the show. Oh, okay.
Busy.
Ray on the side, it's like, yeah, she slept with all the main guys. I was like, no, we can't. That's not.
can't say that.
That's not what this is about. This isn't your memoir. You know what I mean?
Busy
But he's
Phillips.
like, okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
on
Thanks,
the
guys.
terrific book. Give it up for Busy.